I would first like to invite a well-known social entrepreneur and my friend Karen Sheba, whose latest feather in her cap is to be featured in the book She is 75 Women in Science, Technology, Engineering, Applied Arts and Mathematics, published by the Government of India on the occasion of India's 75th year of independence. Karen is the Chief Impact Officer, iDobro, and Trustee, Rise Infinity Foundation. She'll be in conversation for our first fireside chat with Saroja Yeramilli, founder Melorra. Over to you, Karen.
Thank you so very much. And of course, I am extremely privileged to be introducing and talking with someone who is truly breaking the bias, which is the theme for today. Or maybe have the screen, please. Saroja Yeramilli, who is the CEO and founder of Melorra, with over 2 decades of diverse experience in building successful brands in India and the USA. I think today, many of us would have probably heard of her because of her success. But I think today what we have the opportunity, and it's truly an opportunity, I must tell you, because on Women's Day, I think all successful women are so busy talking to so many people and getting invitations for International Women's Day that we're truly privileged to have Saroja choose us and give us her time today to talk with her. She has, of course, done her PGDM in Marketing and Finance from the Xavier Institute of Management and also her BSc from Sambalpur University. With that experience and that knowledge and that expertise, we are truly looking forward to talking to Saroja because I know that there is a lot for us to learn and change to break the gender bias. Saroja, may we have you, please?
Hi, thank you so much, Karen, and congratulations to be featured in this very prestigious list. So great news this morning to start off on. And Professor Ravi, it was very inspiring to see what the IIT Bombay, college and institution is doing to encourage women entrepreneurship. I was closely following each of your slides, and it's fantastic. You know, it's so great to know that women entrepreneurs are a minority. I think one of the biggest minorities in the country, and to see an institution of the repute of IIT Bombay start the Desai Sethi School of Entrepreneurship is a great delight to see. And, please count on my support as you continue on this journey. At any time, I'm always there. So thank you so much, Professor Ravi, for letting me be aware of this initiative that you all have been working on from 2014. So I'm really excited and thrilled to be here, and Karen is absolutely right. I think each women achiever in India today is flooded with a lot of invitations, and I have been fortunate also, but I really wanted to speak here today. Thanks also to the invitation from my very dear friend Anu Narsimhan, and I go back 30 years. And I'm truly privileged to be speaking to all of you today.
Thank you once again, Saroja. And, rightly, as you said, what Professor Ravi spoke about having a school for entrepreneurship. I think it is so critical because the 2 issues that he spoke about, and I think I would really love to start with those 2 issues, is talking about funding and mentoring. Yeah. And you have the distinction of probably being one of those very, I don't know how many more veries to add to that, rare entrepreneur who could actually get funding even before you had any kind of track record in your business, right? You had track record, but we're talking in your business, which is, normally pre-revenues is not heard of, right? And definitely not at the scale that you raised funds. So I think in all the startup ecosystem, I think you was literally all over when that happened. So please talk to us a little bit about these 2 big issues that Professor Ravi also brought up. Thank you.
So Karen, my journey of entrepreneurship is quite unusual. I think I broke not just the gender stereotype, but many stereotypes. And I mentioned that because, the biggest problem for women, including myself, is that we doubt ourselves. In fact, if you ask me, I think that is the only thing that holds us back in today's society. I would repeat the only thing that holds us back. So after working for about 25 years, I should have been so confident about starting my journey as an entrepreneur, but I wasn't. I was constantly talking to friends, family, mentors in the industry, and should I not? So many doubts, and somehow I ventured off and I said, okay, now is the time. And everybody felt that. And again, see again how we doubt ourselves. It's a funny anecdote, but just before I started Melorra, my husband and I were off on a holiday in Maldives celebrating some milestone anniversary, I forget which. And, we came to an agreement that one of us should focus on our two daughters as they're growing older and as they come to high school and, graduation, and one of us should become an entrepreneur. And my husband said he loves being an entrepreneur and he would like to be an entrepreneur and he would like to start a company and things like that. I said, go ahead with my good wishes, please do so. And I will go back to doing a 9-to-5 job, and that is the pact with which we came back. And that is why it is so ironic, man proposes and God disposes is so true in this particular case, because literally 4 months after we came back, we completely switched plans where I became an entrepreneur, an accidental one, I might add. And I started thinking about starting off. And I started thinking about starting off because I was fascinated by the growth of e-commerce in India. And I'm from the organized retail background ever since it started in India. I've led retailing for so many companies, etc. And so I said, okay, either I join an e-commerce company or I start one. And I also decided to start an e-commerce company in the most difficult category of that time, which was fine jewelry. This is an era when people were hardly buying books online. And to think I would start a company in e-commerce to encourage women to buy a most expensive item is truly a difficult task that I set up for myself. And on top of it, I was very clear that I'm not going to put the savings of the family at risk, because we have to take care of our kids and all of that. And I would only start this company if I raised money, external funding. Otherwise, I would not. And so with great amount of hesitation and trepidation, I started off building a business plan. And as luck would have it, a friend of ours was visiting home for dinner, and again, see the hesitation. I didn't even tell him. He was the CEO of Bharti Softbank joint venture in India. And I could have used that opportunity to showcase my business plan. My husband did. He said, hey, Saroja is planning to be an entrepreneur. Would you like to take a look at her business plan? And he said, I'd love to. And I was like, oh, why are you bothering him? See, this typical women reaction. Why are you bothering him? Imagine, had I been a man, I would have jumped at the opportunity that somebody, such a big figure, is coming home. And I would have showcased the presentation, right, with great amount of pride, and probably told a story far bigger than what it is. And but I was constantly prefacing and subtexting, saying, oh, it's a small plan, and this, the defensiveness that we women have. So it's a good fortune that he overlooked all of that, and he connected me to a venture capitalist in India. I knew no one because I'm from the corporate background. Entire startup ecosystem was absolutely foreign to me. And as luck would have it, that venture capitalist turned out to be coming to Bangalore the next week. And I went and met him. Again, I was so nervous that I spilled the contents of my handbag. This was my first pitch presentation. And for a month prior to that, I'd been requesting investment banker friends of mine that, hey, can you help me raise money? And they said, no way. Even for men, it is hard to raise money on a business plan, pre-revenue, proof of concept. And before proof of concept, you have to do a proof of concept. You have to establish a company with your own money, and you have to have revenues. After 2-3 years, perhaps we can help you raise money, and be prepared for massive rejection. You have to meet at least 120 venture capitalists before one may agree to fund you. I was so discouraged after that meeting. The same investment banker has later on chased me for years to take up my mandate, okay, to help raise money for us. So now, with all those doubts that society puts, you become so diffident, but I still continued. I met the venture capitalist. Perhaps I said something that made sense to him, because within a week they were chasing me, rather wooing me is a better word. And, and I very hesitantly, diffidently asked for $1 million of funding. And they said, no, take 5 million, And I just couldn't believe it. I was like, $5 million. I ran home, I did some research, and it turned out to be a record seed round in Indian history of entrepreneurs, right? And I'm so happy that a woman created that record, and this is to all people that say women cannot raise money. I am sorry, I don't agree. My own journey tells you otherwise, right? So mistakes, lack of confidence, diffidence, constantly putting myself down, not grabbing the opportunity hard enough. And but luckily, I think I not only survived, I've thrived since then. We have successfully raised many, many rounds of capital, and we are a very, very large company today. 300 people, expanding, one of the largest direct-to-consumer brands in India. But lots of challenges along the way of building this business, of course. But those stories are for perhaps another day. So, yeah, so that's how I ended up creating a record unwittingly.
Great. No, I think that was so great to hear that honesty, and literally, I mean, sharing those insecurities that you spoke about, because it's so true of all women. As they say, if there's a requirement for a woman to fill up a post, she will look at 10, and if she doesn't get 10 on 10, she doesn't apply. Well, a man will look at it, and even if he has 7 or even 6 for that matter, he'll probably apply. So thank you for addressing that. I think a lot of women here will definitely resonate with that, and hopefully will find that courage and be inspired by you to take the steps to kind of find their dreams, right? But I think why you said so many things have led to your success, and obviously your experiences played a big role. I think the innovation quotient of what you are doing, and I was kind of looking up a little bit of what you have spoken about earlier. I think that innovation quotient and understanding the customer, I think 2 things were another big, I think, factors that helped you really, in your success. So maybe if you could, share a little bit about that.
Inherently, I think women are hustlers. Women are the ultimate innovators. And like I keep saying repeatedly, Karen, I think it's just that we don't take ourselves seriously. We are brilliant storytellers. I think we've raised all of our children on massive storytelling, and talk about innovation. A woman can turn out a gourmet level meal with very little ingredients in her fridge. Every woman is innovative, right? And I'm telling you, I have learned listening to male entrepreneurs, and I have sat through so many pitches now. The confidence and the storytelling, we all have innovation in our blood. Women are inherently innovative. We will come up with business plans, business ideas. We just have to become very aggressive. We have to become, in fact, throughout my corporate career, I remember that in all performance appraisals, if somebody said aggressive to me, I would go, ouch, you mean assertive? Don't you mean assertive? And, I thought aggressive was a wrong word to be used for a woman. Why? Why is it a wrong word? What is wrong with being ambitious, being aggressive? That is how you change the world. A man understands this from the time he's born, but we always like to nuance all these adjectives. I don't think we should, right? We have every business, and I have sat through so many pitches by women, and I'm so inspired by women entrepreneurs today in India. They have world-class ideas. Of course, I did too, but again, the hesitation held me back. And, we came up with some very, very cool ideas. We said, jewelry is very traditional, and we women today are so different. And the jewelry industry is run by men, and worse, by old men, and I keep saying men don't understand women, then old men will not understand young women at all. It's the polar opposite. And why is it that there are no women jewelry founders in the world? It's unbelievable to me. Who is the consumer? Consumer is women, and why is it that there is no women founder? And you will not believe it, Carol. Men also see a lot of sense these days, fortunately. The VC that funded me said, your competitive advantage is you are a woman founder of a jewelry company. No man can match your thinking ever, because the consumer is women and you understand what a woman needs, right? It's basic common sense, right? And I used to struggle to find jewelry that I could wear on a daily wear basis. And I said, why can't jewelry be fashionable? It was a very simple question. Women love to be fashionable these days. And, it's an Instagram generation, slightly bordering on young. Gen Z is narcissistic almost. I have Gen Z daughters, so please pardon me for saying it. But selfie obsessed world today, right? And, jewelry is so archaic. So why can't it be more modern? Why can't it be contemporary? So we went out to create the Zara of the jewelry industry, except I think we're beating Zara on innovation. We are a no inventory, just in time manufacturing model. We are a digital Zara. So we have disrupted Zara too. And today I can say this with great degree of pride. I couldn't when I started, to think that we have launched collections faster than Zara in the world. I'm so proud to tell you today, so that you have to be dreaming big. And I have to tell you, we all dream big as women, but we don't speak big. The turning point for me, Karen, was actually sitting through a presentation by a male founder of a unicorn company in India. And the way he was presenting his business, like he was building the next Google. Okay. And it is nothing like Google. It will never be like Google. And I was astonished. I was astonished that he could actually say that he's building the next Google and Facebook. We all
confidence.
The women entrepreneurs in the room, we just looked at each other and we said, what? How is he building Google and Facebook? Never mind, no touch with reality. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing in entrepreneurship.
Ambitious, ambitious.
The level of confidence that they have, the kind of storytelling, pitching big is what gets you funding.
Absolutely.
That is what gets you funding. You should be able to paint a picture that's so massive, like you're changing the world. And I was holding back thinking, I'm doing a jewelry company. How can I change the world? What can I do? And, till people said, oh my God, you're creating a no inventory model that can translate across industries. And it didn't occur to me that it could actually do that, right? And so there are so many things that we women lack, like I said, right? Lack of confidence in presenting our own story. And again and again and again, I have now raised money practically every year since Melorra started. And I have to tell you, every single time I've learned the ability to tell the story and paint a big picture and a big dream is what gets you money, nothing else.
But at the end of the day, Saroja, that's to be also implemented, and I think that is also the factor that you brought in, which is so wonderful. I mean, you're not just in time inventory, but no inventory. I mean, that is like simply a game changer. And I think, thinking beyond what is the traditional, and looking at innovation from a what more or how else can I do this, I think is what you really kind of took your whole ambition and business plan forward on the basis. I read about the 3D printing and I'm like amazed. I can't even begin to think that every single piece of your jewelry is 3D printed. I have become a fan to go and check out your website. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's simply amazing. That's the innovation that actually adds to it. And as I said, implementation also requires a team. And I think that's another thing that you've done so wonderfully well. So maybe you could share a little bit about that as well. That'll be really nice.
Sure. So, I think, thank you for the plugins for Melorra. I wasn't planning to do it. You've done a better job than me, I have to be honest. But I have to say that, again, a few other things that hold us back, right, as women, is technology. We get faced by the word technology. We think, and all due respect to Professor Ravi, that you have to be from IIT and IIM to be an entrepreneur. I'm sorry, you don't have to be. That's another stereotype that I was successful in breaking. And, you can be from a humble background. You can be from a small town. You could be having studied in a small college. It really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter where you have come from, right? Technology is one big challenge that I had to overcome. I was not from a technology background. I spent 25 years in what are today called traditional companies. And nothing wrong with it. The way we are using the word traditional is so judgmental. It's almost like primitive, which is wrong. But, I believe that technology-led businesses can help you to scale very capital efficiently. So it was very important for me to learn technology. And the first year, and I know you're asking me about people and building a team, and I'm going to come to that in a minute. And this is kind of correlated to that. And I want to tell you some really funny anecdotes. And I hope my funny anecdotes are making the point that I want them to make, is that the first year, and wanting to start an e-commerce company meant I had to get a CTO, and get a team of developers, and I had never worked with one. And I didn't understand technology at all. It was so embarrassing. After I raised India's largest seed round of $5 million, I was asked to build a team, and I knew that I had to start with the CTO, and I didn't know how to interview one. I didn't want to make a fool of myself. So what I did was that I requested other founders and CTOs of other companies to give me some time, and I would send across candidates and they would interview. And what I would do is sit in on that interview and make furious notes so that the next time I know what questions to ask. Okay, it was that bad for me. So when you have to build, you're completely, changing the game. You want to build with technology in the center of your business and you don't know it. I didn't know digital marketing. Anu knows I'm from a traditional marketing background. And, I only knew how you could run ads on TV. I had no clue how you would advertise on Facebook and Google. I had to learn that too. I didn't know how to hire digital marketing people. But a few good decisions I made in retrospect. Remember that $5 million seed round, it was very helpful in attracting the right talent. I didn't hold back from hiring the best people at better than market salaries, and don't scrimp and save on people. That's one advice I'll give to all budding women entrepreneurs. And I'm mentoring a lot of women entrepreneurs. And one of the biggest conversations for me in this mentorship that I do is building a team. And I have seen men go out, confidence again, aggression, get the best, whatever they cost. But women are so timid about building a team. And I can tell you, before you build a large business, you have to build a team. That is the first necessary step to building a great business. People feel, and by the way, it's not just women, men make this mistake all the time. You build a business, then you invest in people. No, you first invest in people, then the business ensues. You've got to think the right way about it. I also found out from a lot of entrepreneurs in India, what was their ESOP structure like and how much had they put across in the ESOP pool. And I understood that typically it's 5 to 7%. And I doubled it. I put 14% of my stake, and I offered the best ESOP structure, at least back then, right? And I offered ESOP not just to the leadership team, which was the prevalent practice at that time, but I offered ESOP to every single employee in the company. Okay. This enabled me to attract the right talent, right? Very good ESOP program, very strong salary benchmarking that we did, and we offered better than a lot of e-commerce companies back then. So when you raise funding, and women, not just women, let me not keep saying that, even men, I have seen so many entrepreneurs hesitate to dilute themselves early on, right? They hold on to their stake. But I always say the size of the pie remains the same, guys. You can have, if you do not divide the pie up, right? Grow the pie. The percentage of your slice, the share of your slice, the size of your slice. You can have a big slice of a small pie, or you can have a small size of a much larger pie, right? And when you arithmetically add it up, actually the second option is way better than the first option. So if you don't raise money, you're not prepared to dilute yourself, you ain't going to attract talent. And if you can't attract talent, you're not going to build a great business. End of story. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not just money, it is also the vision. How you sell your vision. Remember, we talked about storytelling to investors. Hello, before you do storytelling to investors, you have to do storytelling to new hires. When you're interviewing people, paint the picture. Paint the picture for people like to be part of journeys that acts as transformation in their own life. Tell them where this business can take their life. Tell them that being part of this startup can help them to become entrepreneurs. Young India aspires to be an entrepreneur. And I'm so glad I'm a stepping stone for so many entrepreneurs. People leave my company. And I always say, I will not make a retention effort in 2 and only 2 situations. I will not ever make a retention effort if somebody is going to study more. I never stop them. And if they're going to become an entrepreneur, I let them go with my blessings, cut short the notice period, regardless of whatever problems I as a business might face, right? In every other case, we will kill to retain our people. Okay? So, entrepreneurship helps India,
Right.
of all kinds, men, women, and women, of course, much more. And so play your part, be the breeding ground for future entrepreneurs. They come, they learn risk management, they learn so much from you. So take that role damn seriously, so hire people early on, train them, give them a large vision, give them the tools and techniques, and hope they all become an entrepreneur and add to the country one day.
Great, great. Thank you so much, Saroja. You know something? This is actually a first. I have not got questions. I'll tell you why. Okay, I'm absolutely clear on why. Because people are just so listening to you. I don't think they're getting a chance to even think of what more they want to ask. And believe me, it's not at all the norm. So I'm thinking we are also just enthralled listening to what you've been saying. And I think we're taking a lot of lessons back. I mean, right from the funding, the innovation, the customer focus, and then of course, more than anything else is about you being the entrepreneur that supports other entrepreneurs. I think this was just simply amazing, Saroja. And I think, talking about breaking the bias, which is the theme for this IWD, I think you've definitely broken the bias because we started with the fireside chat called Self-Made Woman. I think, we always use the term self-made man. And I think you have truly broken that bias. And we really thank you for giving us this time. It's been simply amazing. I think I would like one picture with Saroja and the break the bias, this thing, because my role today of breaking the bias is wearing blue. I think, this whole pink thing. I mean, I love pink and I'm happy to wear pink, but why does it have to be the identity of women, right? And so for me, I said, I'm going to wear blue. So that was my breaking the bias for just today and for this session. And Saroja, if I might just simply ask you to very quickly do the break the bias image. And if we could have a picture, please, someone, if you could click that for me. And I'd invite the rest of the audience to also do this as we do this. Yeah. Thank you so very much. Thank you, Saroja. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Thank you, Anu. Happy to be here. Take care. Bye.
Thank you. I thought I had read about you, but I did not know the stories that you told us, Saroja. They were very simply said. So thank you. Really appreciate. Many of your thoughts have been captured as comments. We were writing to each other saying, well said and wonderfully said. Karen, there was one question. Do we have the time for it?
Okay, we can, I guess, do that.
Yeah, so there was a question somebody asked, and I say it because it's pertinent and Saroja will be the right person to answer. Somebody asked, should we have a global name instead of an Indian name? Was that a question, Srilata?
Yes.
Oh, my apologies for missing it. Yes, please.
No worries.
Great question.
The question is, do we need a global sounding name versus an Indian sounding name, if I understood Srilata's question?
Yeah, because my venture is Menon's Environment Exclusive.
Right.
That's fine.
Saroja?
I think she's dropped off.
Has she dropped off?
Yeah.
Has she dropped off?
Yeah, I think she dropped
okay.
off.
No worries. Srilata, we can do this offline with me sometime, but it's also a function of category is what I would say for now. And happy to chat offline on this anytime. Thanks, Karen.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Karen. I don't know how, but I'm also wearing blue. So thank you so much. It was such a, it was an actual fireside chat. It was like we all are like sitting together. And thank you, Karen, for like putting out such questions, which actually weaved everything together, right from how raising fund, pre-revenue happened to working with the teams. And I would also have thanked, now I think Saroja is not here, but I guess it doesn't hurt to kind of put out in a short, in brief points that so many important points, not just for entrepreneurs, but life lessons, how we lack confidence at times, how we, are little timid in painting the big picture, and how we have to be good storytellers for our own team first, and then, for the world. I really enjoyed it, and I'm sure our audience also enjoyed it. I was also seeing, like Professor Anu said in the chat, people were already, quite enthused and speaking to each other. So really, thank you. Thanks both to Karen and Saroj. So now we move on with this very, very